So we're sitting here in this room.
We're sitting here in this room. Welcome to a special edition of Open Your Mind. This is John Blummer, and with me I have Blum Johnner.
I am Blum Johnner. Hello.
That's an excellent name. It's an excellent name.
One that I did
sounds
not
very
just
familiar.
come up with right now, actually.
No. Same thing before. It's all audio, so no video. Maybe if
we'll throw in a fancy picture
Blum
right
wants
now.
to. Oh,
but no more. That was the only picture you're gonna get. Sorry if you were expecting more.
He says that there's probably going to be hidden images like all throughout, just like for half a second.
No,
you're going to have to seek through. This is going to be based off of.
Completely ripping off of.
Completely ripping off of is too harsh of a word. Imitation is the best form of flattery, as they often say. There's the biggest problem in the universe with Maddox and Dix Masterson, which is hilarious.
High role models, people you definitely want to be like.
Absolutely. And essentially what they're doing is what I had in mind for Open Your Mind, but I really like the addition of having people that can call me out on my bad ideas.
Yeah.
So essentially what we're going to do is we're going to each bring in a problem or two. We'll see how it goes this time and just talk about it. So,
problems with the world.
Problem number one.
The first problem.
The very first problem.
So I
really don't want to let anybody down with this. My first problem is girls' toys.
Girls' toys. That's a huge problem.
I think girls' toys are a pretty big problem. So when you think girls' toys, what comes to mind?
Oh, just when you're in Walmart and you see the pink aisle.
Walmart, the pink aisle. See, it's a very excellent. So that's really the first point that I'd want to talk about. The color pink. First off, the pink aisle is a stereotype. Now, I'm not a girl, and you're not a girl. At least, as far as I know, neither of us are girls. Maybe we both are.
Perhaps.
But probably not.
By someone's definition, I'm sure.
Probably. But I remember this from high school psychology class. Do you remember this when our teacher was like, he was talking about his daughters and how they wanted to go to the pink aisle.
The pink aisle.
And that was this mental construct for them at a very young age. We're instilling in girls' minds that the place that they want to be, their aim, their desire, is to be in the pink aisle.
But my question for you is being in the pink aisle such a bad thing? Is it bad if they want the pink things?
Well, for one, I think it's bad that we have to associate colors with gender stereotypes.
I do agree with that.
If you look, and now here's my counter-argument, counter-argument to my own argument. Here's society's response to the pink aisle. I went to Toys R Us the other day, shopping for Christmas stuff, and when I did, I thought, you know what, let's make the point of taking a look at the girls section and the boys section and see what's going on. So you go to the girls section. Everything is pink.
Everything's pink.
Everything is pink. And just for the fun of it, I was walking at a new store that opened up outside of the mall called.
Will not be named.
I can't. All right, we won't name it. I don't remember the name of it.
It was a new toy store.
It was some girls' toy store. Oh, and I actually, you know what? I remember seeing another toy store, Pretty Princess something or other. I don't remember the name of it. I'm not plugging it because it's something to do with the word princess, and I think it's important that the store is called like Pretty Princess something or other.
So it's Pretty Princess something or other.
Pretty Princess something or other, and the entire store is pink. There's literally nothing that's not pink or some variation of pink. But then there's another store that I walked past that did have baby blue on the floors and walls, but all the products were still pink.
They were all still pink.
But then you go to the boys section of Toys R Us.
It's like a rainbow.
And it's every color. There are oranges, there are greens, there are blues. It's everything. So it's a matter of restricting colors. That girls are only allowed to be pink. And I'm not even gonna say allowed because that's the feminist word out there that men aren't allowing girls to do it. Girls can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
If a girl doesn't want to shop in the pink aisle, I'm all for it. Get the fudge out of the pink aisle. We don't need to have an aisle specifically for the color pink. We should have it by like function or utility or interest, not color.
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, why is the color pink used so ubiquitously?
I don't know.
But again,
the thing that I find funny is then as people get older, then blue becomes more of a feminine color because all women do are cry all the time.
Yeah,
so they feel blue.
They feel blue.
Right. And then men, they like the color red because it's the color of the blood of our enemies.
Yeah, because we're all angry and we want to kill.
Exactly. And red is closer to pink, and blue is still blue.
Blue is still blue. But girls' toys in general, why have girls' toys anyways? Why should there be girls'
That's part
toys?
of the problem. Why do we have girls' toys? Because we have girls' section of a toy store, but we don't have an explicit boys' section. We have like a girls' section and then like a Lego section. Those are not equivalent. We have a girls' section and we have a video game section. Still not equivalent.
Yeah. We have a girls' video games. I've actually seen girls' video games, like video games made for girls, and it's like, Anita Sarkeesian was right all along.
Oh my god. You need to bring that problem in. I think you do that problem better justice.
That's a good problem. Not one I will be discussing today, though.
Okay.
We will save that.
You don't have to.
A little teaser.
That's a good one to do research on, because there are great quotes.
There are many
great quotes,
but we need to stop.
I still need to do my review on that. But anyways, another problem I have with girls' toys is what the toys are.
What are they? I haven't walked into a girls' aisle in a while. Give me a picture.
It's exactly what you would expect. It's a crap ton of dolls.
Mm-hmm.
Which, okay, first of all, right there, if we have this social stereotype that, or this, I don't know if it's, I mean, it is a stereotype, but it's also a feminist conception, and it's not pure feminist. It's just a feminist-ish conception that women are better, are good or better. You can use either one. They mean different things, but they both work. Nurturers.
Mm-hmm.
But how can you possibly say that when 90% of the that's a great statistic. 85% of all statistics are completely made up.
Well, did you know that 60% of people who say that know that what they're saying is actually very wrong?
That's a great statistic.
Yeah.
I'm gonna cite that. By Johnson.
Johnson, that's Blummerson.
John Blummer. Hey,
Blummer John, that's me. Hello,
Blum
welcome to our show.
You don't even know your own name.
5 minutes in, 6 minutes in.
Excellent.
This is very good. Very good.
How can we possibly think that women are naturally more nurturing when we indoctrinate them for the first however many years of their life that they go to the pink aisle? I don't actually know what year they stop going to the pink aisle.
When do
if that
they
ever
start?
happens, I don't know. We're going to need to bring a woman in for the expertise on this subject.
Next episode featuring a woman, maybe.
Absolutely.
Probably not.
That's the only defining characteristic that
I mean, if they're not a woman, then why would their opinions on this subject even matter?
It wouldn't even matter.
They wouldn't. Whatever. They would be all biased. All women are biased. Just confirming it here on our first episode.
Such a terrible thing to open with. You know what? If we're going to isolate the feminists, let's just do it now.
Yeah,
let's do it now. Get them out. Call them.
Here's the deal.
Call the week.
I mean, this isn't a problem. I didn't want to discuss this today.
Okay.
The problem isn't feminists and feminism. It's people who use feminism
absolutely.
to.
That's a great problem though. Save that.
I'll say. Well, that was a little teaser.
That's a teaser problem.
A future episode.
Absolutely.
We don't really hate feminists. I'm sorry, anyone who claims that they're feminist, but we hate you if you're evil and you use your feminism.
That just place a value in the title of it. It's just like, oh, I'm a feminist. Look how good I am because of that. But saving that. Yeah. We're raising these people. We're indoctrinating them. We're raising them specifically with the express purpose of nurturing, and then we're saying, "Oh no, that's just the way they are."
Yeah.
What? No.
You see, like 3-year-olds
right.
with baby dolls.
Exactly.
Like they didn't go out and say, "I want a baby doll." They were given that, and like, "Oh, you got to be a good mom."
That's the worst part. That's the worst part. Is that
this baby has a baby.
We consider that to be a good thing to do. Look at how good of a person you are for buying your daughter dolls. For baby dolls that wet themselves so that they learn from a young age how to change their diapers.
Yeah. I think
it's not fucking complicated. They'll figure it out.
Yeah.
You don't have to teach them for the first 10 years, however long. I don't even fucking know. Whatever. 5, 10, whatever. You don't have to teach that to them. You don't have to raise them. You don't have to make that. Well, you know what? All right. So I'll counter argue myself here.
Own argument is second counter argument.
The great aspect of this. The counter argument to my counter argument. The great aspect of this is teaching women to enjoy raising kids. Is that the rest of us don't have to?
Yeah, I think it's a weird dichotomy because I mean you could definitely tell this is something that wasn't like invented by women. Like I don't think that there's like a group of men or women out there who like made this up. It just kind of happened, you know?
Yeah.
But I mean like it's perpetuated so much that people don't even think about it anymore. I mean. They'll just casually say, "Oh, go check out the girls' aisle," and I mean, I think the problem of girls' toys brings up a much bigger problem of just gendered toys, like, you know, Because boys,
well, part of my argument is that there is no boys.
There shouldn't.
Toys.
There should. That's true. But there.
Not to the extent.
Not to the extent.
Right,
there are, of course. I mean, if you go into the boys' toy aisle, right? Because
what is the boys'
toy aisle being not the girls' toy aisle.
So the whole rest of the store.
The whole rest of the store.
There's no one aisle.
If you're walking around, you'll see a pretty large collection of militaristic stuff and cars and like.
But see, I've got that on here. Cars.
You already got that.
I got cars.
Well, I mean, cars.
I'm going to talk about that.
Because cars
talk about that now? All right, go ahead.
Here's the thing, because girls' toys will a lot of times be boys' toys, but just pink. I mean, there are a lot of especially like
right
Legos.
Here.
I've seen there's literally like girl Legos. They're not called girl Legos, of course, but it's like Lego collections.
Is it all pink?
And it's all the whole color palette is like pink and blue and like pastel yellow.
What's the point?
And it's like all of the sets are related to home life, where like they're a woman and their little friends, and they go to the mall and they go shopping and they come home to their family and they have a baby, and it's. You look at the other toys, not the girl toys, and it's like police officers, and it's like
a very valuable service for society.
But then again, it's one that I think
you don't have to have men police officers. You can have whatever.
I think that it is something. I mean, you don't never see a girl toy police officer. Like, have you ever seen?
I'm sure there's a Barbie police.
Have you ever seen a pink police officer before?
Oh, not a pink.
I've never seen one. Like I've seen Barbie police officer. I can.
Are they pink? I'm sure there are, but I haven't seen
them. The box is pink.
Okay, the box is pink.
Box is pink. I think the point that's trying to be made here, though, is
but
shouldn't be a distinction every toy versus.
And here's where I was going to go with that.
Yeah.
Cars, Hot Wheel cars.
Hot Wheels. Mm-hmm.
Hot Wheels. If you don't, Hot Wheels, they're these little. Everyone knows what Hot Wheels are. We don't have international listeners yet.
No, if you
don't know what they are, Google them.
There's a website called Google.com. Anything you don't know, if you type into the little square above the other two little squares and below the word Google, you will find someone else who doesn't know what it is, and they'll tell you what it is.
I like that advice. It's very useful.
Thank you.
Tech people all over the world give that advice all the time.
They do.
They have a website. What is it? LMGTYTL.
YouTube.com.
LMGTFY.
Oh yeah, that's a good website for people who are sycophants and are annoying.
Yes.
To annoy everyone with.
That's my favorite website. But yeah, Hot Wheels. Those are. I'm gonna suggest those are traditionally a boy's toy.
I agree. I don't think I've ever seen a girl in a Hot Wheels commercial or on the box art of a Hot Wheels car before.
So you can make the argument, it's
a boy's toy.
Discrimination against women because you're not marketing it to women, so women don't feel comfortable buying a Hot Wheels car. And if a girl ever buys a Hot Wheels car, walks up to the checkout line, puts a Hot Wheels car on the thing, and then gets a dirty look from the cashier, like that's what needs to happen for you to suggest that that's the life that we are living in. If the cashier gives your daughter a dirty look for buying a Hot Wheels car, then I will agree with you and I will go find that person, beat them up myself. But
at the same point, this might be a little bit of a departure in the world of video games. I know this is it's a soft subject, video games, but I've seen it happen where I'm at GameStop and there's like just probably like a 20, 30-year-old woman there, and she's buying like a 3DS game or a game, and the cashier will ask like, oh, is this for your son? And I mean that's definitely, even if it is, I mean it shouldn't be something that we hold.
Hold on, you work in retail.
I do. Yes.
I'm not going to try and betray any confidentiality here, but we spent the last hour and a half prior to recording this talking about problems. But when you see people come in, you're looking at demographics and you're trying to find out how to help these people and how to interact with these people. So I'm guessing that the majority of 20 and 30-year-old women that come in are looking to buy stuff for their children, and that's just the person assuming, okay, how can I help this person the most by... And all right,
I suppose that's a valid point.
There's underlying discrimination against women in that.
But it probably is not a conscious thought of, oh, this woman would never play video games.
Well, how many 20 and 30-year-old people have 3DSs?
I mean, most of my friends are 20 or 30-year-olds and have 3DSs.
Well,
maybe I'm in a niche demographic over here.
Yeah.
But this isn't even a problem. I don't think GameStop cashiers are a problem.
I don't think,
but not one that are a very important problem. Would you like to
Hot Wheels
power up rewards card today?
I saw.
I'm not a GameStop representative.
I don't like the new. They're doing that credit card thing now. That's my only problem with the GameStop pitch now. But anyways, they did have one one car in the Barbie section, and it was a Corvette.
A Corvette.
But it was, of course...
It was pink.
It was a pink Corvette.
It was a pink Corvette.
It was a pink Corvette that Barbie had to drive. So it wasn't about the car.
Mm-hmm.
It was... I mean, I can speculate, of course, and I'm probably going to be wrong a million times over, but that it's a measure of her status or a measure of her trying to be successful or an emulation of what it's like to drive a cool car, a fast car, a cool car. I don't know what a young girl's conception of a sports car is. Obviously, it has to be pink, or otherwise it's not appropriate for her.
I kind of have an idea of maybe not so much why it's still, but why it came into place. You know, these are all decisions, you know, whether or not the company is going to sell a pink Corvette or a blue Corvette. It's all based on, you know, a team of people sitting in a room who are like, all right.
Oh, absolutely. They're pitching this to the parents that are like, oh, this is good for your daughter. And,
well, at the same time, I mean, they've probably, someone out there one day made like a pink something or other, and a lot of girls bought it because they've been told their whole lives that pink is the color of girliness. And so they see this pink thing, they're like, oh, that's associated with my identity. And then the company says, oh, well, when we made it pink, the sales for, you know, people, you know, women and people buying things for their daughters improved. So if we make more pink things, then our female demographic will go up. I don't think the problem so much is the companies making it, but the people buying it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
If people stop buying pink things or just start buying pink things for their sons instead, because I mean, there's no bad. There's no negative.
I'm gonna argue against that just because of
there shouldn't be. We
shouldn't have a specific. We shouldn't. Market things according to a specific color.
Yeah.
But I see what you're saying. There's no reason why a boy can't own something because it's pink.
Exactly.
You should not see something that would be a boy would like and say, "Oh no, it's pink. You can't have that."
It's pretty upsetting too because I will be, you know, at Walmart, you know, begrudgingly shopping around, and I'll see, you know, like a little, you know, 3 or 5-year-old little boy, you know, picking up like a Barbie or something, and the parent, you know, it could be a mother or a father, will go, "Oh, that's not for you. Go look in the other aisle." You know, never to that exact words, but I do. It's a legitimate thing that happens. You know, it's like, oh, you don't want to be seen playing with a girl toy because then everyone will think that you're a little sissy.
Yes, but at the same time, I'm still going to argue that girls' toys are much highly, I don't know what the right word is, genderized.
They are. I mean,
so I would argue that I would not want either my son or my daughter to play with girls' toys just because I would want them to play with toys with not toys for the purpose of being neutral toys, but just toys that have another purpose other than to be like, oh, you're a girl, so have the girl toy.
Yeah.
Oh, you're a boy, so have the boy toy. Or oh, you're a boy, so have the girl toy to see, look at all the rules I'm breaking.
Yeah.
No, just be like, no, have a flippin' toy. Have something that you can have fun with, not something that you're changing the diapers of a fake baby.
Well,
there are enough babies in the world. If you want to change diapers, we can find a baby for you. Think of all the babies with dirty diapers out there, with parents that don't want to change their diapers. Go find them.
There are a lot of babies out there. That is another problem, I think, the amount of babies. Perhaps we will discuss them.
Especially in China.
Maybe. As China is
that still a problem in China?
I mean,
still a thing?
We could fix both problems. You get the kids who want to change baby diapers, because there are kids who want to, you know, it could be a man or a little girl. I don't know why I said man instead of boy, but it could be a boy or a girl.
A man or a little
a man
girl. Those
or
are equivalent. Equivalent groupings there.
Yeah, whatever less important groups we're talking about here. You know, send them over to China. Take some babies back with them. You fix the population problem.
That's a good point.
And you give the children the babies that they want to raise, that they very clearly want to.
Also, you know, I didn't even think about this before, but that's right there. Like, we're teaching these children that we think they're responsible. We're teaching them to believe that they are responsible enough to take care of children like a year younger than them. That's not right.
I don't think it's right because, I mean, I've seen like 4-year-olds who'll just leave their little baby doll on the ground.
Yeah.
That's a dead baby.
That's messed up. That's wrong.
If anyone did that, that'd CPS be called. It'd be a big deal. Everyone in the neighborhood would be talking about it.
Absolutely.
You don't leave your baby on the ground. Someone needs to teach these 3-year-olds what the deal is. Maybe these toys should come with an instruction manual, and maybe the parents should read that instruction manual too, and it should just say, "Why'd you buy this? Why'd you buy this kid a baby?" That's what we need to do.
That's fantastic. I can't argue with that.
No, I mean,
I agree with that.
Send this, whoever is our viewer out there, listener, if you are there, please send this to the corporation of your choice. Just that little clip. I think it's a good idea. It will change the face of everything, I think.
But anyways, all right. So the main point I wanted to make about cars: cars are not a boy's toy. Cars are not made for men. Cars are made for people. Everyone drives cars. Men drive cars. Women drive cars. Little boys get driven around in cars. Little girls get driven around in cars. Mm-hmm. Everybody has to drive a car.
That's true.
So when you suggest that being a mechanic, learning how to fix the thing that you are reliant on, is a masculine trait, no. Everyone needs to know about cars. Everyone needs to know how to handle their car, how to change a flat.
But at the same time, I think that, at least in society now, it's not how it should be. Mm-hmm. But just the way things are now, and this is a problem. If I were to, not know something about my engine, it's like, oh, well, you're silly. Like, why don't you know about this engine? Like, you're a man. But, like, if a girl doesn't happen to know about, the workings of an engine, and she says, I don't understand this, she's like, oh, that's okay. We'll take it to a mechanic, and he'll look at it. And I've actually seen this too, where women mechanics at shops will often get old bigoted people. Don't have to be old, but they mostly are old. Most old people are bigoted. Sorry, old people, if you're listening to this, you are probably bigoted. Although if you're listening to this, you're probably not that bigoted because.
That's a good point.
I mean, how'd you get here? Were you just like, I don't know. But anyways, I feel like and then a woman mechanic working just her job, she knows a lot of stuff, but it's like, oh, I want to talk to a man because. In our society, men know more about cars and fixing stuff. But
Does that happen? Have you heard of people that
happens?
Women that
go find
ask
a woman
for male
mechanic.
Mechanics?
Yeah, no, I mean women won't ask for him. I mean they might, but like just people in general who don't understand gender dynamics will find they'll pull into the shop and a woman will come up and help them. It's like, oh, you're gonna fix my car? I've never experienced that before. Feminine traits, you with your brain in a female body.
I've never seen that before.
You go find a female mechanic, ask her. I guarantee she'll have 10. Before. That's a problem. Why are there not more?
I'll agree. See, I will agree with that because I hate when people pose these arguments and say there's too many male mechanics.
There's not
when
enough.
The real problem is that
mechanics.
There's not enough female mechanics.
And the reason there aren't enough women mechanics is because we're told from birth that women are better caretakers. They should be going into these jobs of customer service and helping.
We're told
men are better mechanics, and they should be mechanics and plumbers and do the dirty work. Sure, men are manly, but I think that's just a product of being raised in any country. Really, I mean, there's some that are not. Yeah. Any Western country, I'd say. I don't know anything about the Philippines. Anyone from the Philippines, leave a comment below. Let me know. Let me know how it goes there. If there are female mechanics.
Do they have mechanics in the Philippines? Of course they have mechanics in the Philippines.
The Philippines is a pretty big place.
That's a good point.
Not as big as America, though. Not as good as America, either.
Not as American as America.
We probably just alienated our one Philippine viewer.
Sorry, Philippine guy.
You don't have to leave a comment anymore. You're probably mad now. Don't leave a comment under any circumstances.
I'm sure we will reference Philippine guy many times in the future.
Yep.
What else was I going to say? Just that everybody needs to know how to use cars. Another thing that I saw in the girls' toys section, they have dresses. Mm-hmm. A dress is not a toy. A dress is an article of clothing. This is part of a bigger issue. Clothes are not a toy. Clothes. Like women have too much. I'll try not to be too misogynistic here, even though it's not misogyny at all. But yeah, a dress is not a toy.
A dress is not a toy, and you're right. But I think they might have a place in the pink aisle if one exists.
Oh, absolutely.
If pink aisle is a thing,
belongs in the pink aisle. It is a pink dress,
mm-hmm.
And they are all pink dresses.
They are always
pink. Might have been some purple there.
Might be some sparkles on it.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
You have to have sparkles.
But
you have to have them.
And it's not just making the clothes available, because I'm pretty sure Toys R Us does sell clothes. But it's about, mm-hmm. But it's not in the clothing section. It's in the toy section. It's in advertising
right
to girls that you need to spend time with clothing.
Mm-hmm. It's with the same, you should be a caretaker and you should be thinking about your clothes.
Yep. It's all about the physical appearance.
Mm-hmm. That was a nice little sound there. Thank you, Samsung, for that.
Yep. That covers pretty much everything I got.
That is a pretty big problem.
I'm sure with just a disclaimer here, I'm sure in the future, as we get very frustrated with ourselves for having left out important parts of these problems, we'll go back and talk about them later.
These will be revisited, maybe. We might forget ever having this conversation, since
that's true.
That's how it goes. Yeah, we're about 20 minutes into this. We got problem one pretty much covered. Girl toys. It's a good problem.
So what's your first problem? Problem number 2.
A problem that hits pretty close to home, I think, and it might be a big problem for the show to even mention it, especially in the first episode. But I think one of the biggest problems, and it is the reason I'm choosing to do it the first problem I ever do, is because you can use it when talking about any other problem that we'll probably be talking about on here. Okay. Is the word problematic. Is such... It's just a word, of course, and words by themselves aren't problems. I mean, you can use problematic in a good context.
Actually...
But most of the times I see the word problematic being used, it's just being used to discount something that's, maybe made you feel bad, but you can't really put any fingers or reasons on why it's actually a problem.
Okay.
For example, I see so many times. I've seen this headline. The misogyny in Grand Theft Auto 5 is problematic, and it's really strange. And honestly, Grand Theft Auto is one of just the weirdest things to target, since it's obviously. I mean, it is misogynistic. You can perform violence against women. But it's also misandrist. It's misandry. Because you can perform violence against men. In fact, all the playable characters in the game are men, which might be an example of misogyny. Why can't women play as a character? Probably the reason why they can't play as a woman is because if there was a woman protagonist, she'd be criticized for being too sexy or not sexy enough. Or because she'd have violence put against her, and that's bad, and we can't show violence against women because...
Hold on, I have to step in here.
This is going in a very wrong direction. The word is problematic. That is the problem at hand here.
I'm going to start losing track here. Yeah. But... Actually, in Grand Theft Auto Online, you can play as either gender.
I did
play as a female, and I did have the problem that she wasn't sexy enough. Because she was fudging hideous. There was absolutely nothing you could do to make them look like an even average person, just a normal person. They were just ugly. Every single person was flippin' ugly. Maybe they fixed it at this point.
Well, you know what I think about that? I think your views on beauty are problematic.
Oh, of course.
I think you're displaying some problematic thoughts right now.
Well, yeah, but I mean, to a certain extent, it's bad to idolize impossible values of beauty.
Oh, of course.
Because I mean, if you can't attain it, then what's the point
of the nature of
trying to become anorexic to look like somebody else?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm never going to support hurting yourself in some way in order to impress other people. But at the same time, if it's going to be like something that you idolize, like why idolize being fat?
Yeah.
You should probably idolize being fit. To an extent.
Of course.
Don't hate people for being fat.
Don't hate them because they're fat. If they're fat and they're a jerk, also you can hate them because they're a jerk. Then they just happen to be fat.
But sorry, that's my bad. Back to the problematic.
The problematic problem at hand here. Of course, it's a hard problem to talk about because for the most part, it's always the same problem that it exhibits, and that's just using the word problematic to mean something that I don't really know why. I can't think of any reasons why this is actually a real problem to society, but I don't like it. So it's problematic. It's such an easy way out of having a real conversation about something. It's just saying it's problematic. It's problematic to men. It's problematic to women. It's problematic to young people. It's problematic. It doesn't mean anything. It's such a meaningless buzzword, basically, at this point. And it really bothers me when people say it because they're the same people that will have really, really strong beliefs, but no real backing to it. Like, if you even investigate a little bit, they'll say, oh, it's just because that's the way it is. They won't give you a real argument about it.
That's just the way it is. I hate that phrase so much.
It's just the way it is.
It's not just dismissive. It's a statement of, look at... I'm not going to do anything about it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to think about it. I'm not going to talk about it. It's just
the same people who are out there saying problematic are the same people saying check your privilege and bless your heart. All these just annoyingly condescending things that are in the end just ad hominem attacks.
Why don't you bless my head, brain?
Bless your heart.
Bless my actions. Bless my thoughts, my ideas.
Honey.
No,
honey, no. Oh, honey, no. Oh, sweetie, you didn't just say that, did you?
Well, see, if you were gonna if you were like I don't know, like a southern belle with like the red pigtails and the freckles, saying that with the southern accent, that'd be it. Yeah, that'd be fine. But
maybe.
No.
But no, I mean, it's just buzzwords. It's the same thing as, you finish some stupid argument that doesn't have any sustenance, and then when you realize that no one else in the room agrees with you, you just, at the end of it, you're just saying,
It's problematic.
It's problematic. That doesn't mean anything. It doesn't help your argument. You have to, if you're gonna argue, if you're gonna tell me that Grand Theft Auto 5 is misogynistic, give me some concrete examples of hatred of women specifically in that game.
Right.
And I'll say, okay, that's problematic right there. That is a symptom of a problem. But I mean, Grand Theft Auto 5 is something you can't really talk about because it's such a huge satire anyways that it's it's racist, it's transphobic, it's every single phobic,
it's
and
everything.
It's every ist that you can possibly imagine. It's racist. A black guy dies in it. You can kill black people in that game. It's racist. I mean, there's no limits to Grand Theft Auto 5.
When you use those words, you suggest that it's more that than other things.
I think that's kind of
right.
That's the problem with saying that this game is misogynistic, because you could find examples of hatred of women in that game, but they're just as prevalent as, I think the only way you could really say that the game is misogynistic is that the female characters in the game aren't as fleshed out as their male counterparts, which I do actually find to be true a lot of the times, but not 100% of the time. A lot of people will just say because...
my argument with this is going to be then, and sorry for interrupting,
that's okay.
That if you have a male writer, then don't be pissed off if he writes from his perspective.
Yeah,
that's
I think the way to fix, not fleshed out female characters is just more women in video games writing.
Yeah,
like if
they don't want to write video games, then don't blame them for that. Don't blame the women for that, and don't blame men for that.
Yeah,
it's whatever people want to do.
But honestly, I hear the argument a lot. I'm sorry, you had another idea, but I hear the argument a lot that video game or STEM fields aren't safe place for women. And it's like they're not I can't think of the word, but they're not like accepting, they're not inclusive, I think is the word I'm looking for. And it's like there's this whole thing just recently, just gonna date this recording, of course, but recently there was this whole scandal about this scientist who wore a shirt with naked women on it, and feminists did not like the fact that this STEM major man was wearing a shirt with naked women. He was objectifying women.
They weren't naked.
As it turned, they were scantily clad. They were suggestively posed.
Those scantily and clad are both words that you would never use in any other situation.
Exactly. They are really not words that I really have ever said before, actually. It turns out that it was actually a woman. It doesn't really matter who made it for him, but it was a gift to him. It was an important shirt. Whether it was a woman or a man who made it or wore it doesn't really matter. It was a shirt that was important to him. He wasn't wearing it to objectify women. If you felt offended by his shirt, I'm sorry, but he can wear whatever shirt that he wants to.
I'm not sorry.
I mean, I'm really. If you're offended by that shirt, I don't know what to say. You should think about more important actual problems, like the fact that there are not a lot of women in video games. Like, the only reason is not because men like him are making women feel not included. Because I actually saw people like, oh, no wonder why women are, not feeling like they can go into STEM fields, because there's people like this wearing shirts with pictures on them. Like, but I don't get it. I really don't understand.
I completely agree with it.
If you want to write video games, you can do it. There's no one who will look at your gender and say, oh, she's a woman. She can't write a video game. What? No, there's a man also applying for the situation, and he's not as talented as you, but we'll hire him anyways, just because he was born with a different chromosome than you. That never happens. That thought has never happened. Creative works are judged by the works themselves, never by the person themselves. Of course, there are some people who are idolized past that point, like who get to the point where they're judged just by them existing, and anything they make is good or bad just because it's them who made it. But creative works, in the end of the day, if you write something that's good, you're trying to find a job, and it's good, you attract attention. Doesn't matter if you're a man or woman, something in between. As long as you can write good stuff, you'll get the job. And I think anyone who wants to do it won't even if there was a team of men who work there who are just there to make women not feel included, you should still want to get a job. Like, if this is what you want to do with your life, you shouldn't let people telling you that
Right.
you shouldn't do it. I mean, that's like the first thing you learn when you're a little baby is you always follow your heart, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the only way to happiness. If you listen to everyone saying you shouldn't do it, that's the problem.
That is a problem.
That's so
and
problematic.
At this point, I'm gonna have to step in and say that we're pretty far from the original problem of the word problematic.
The problematic has
So-
it's almost a distant memory.
I take responsibility
Yes.
because my problem was very gender oriented.
Mhm. Yeah, we're on that subject.
This
two
was also
two
a,
white men talking about gender. That should be the title of this episode. I think everyone will flock to it. Oh, what do these two white men have to say about
God.
gender? I think
That would be an
I think our
number of-
perspectives are really interesting, as neither of us are women.
Absolutely.
We all have big
That's the most
ideas of-
important part. Is
I mean-
because who cares what women think about gender anyways?
No,
I mean, that's women.
they are women
the end of the
after
day.
all. Women, I know, right?
So do you want? That is a problem that that actually has been covered
Yes.
in the biggest problem in the universe. They cover it very well. You've covered it very well. Do you want to include that in your problematic? Or?
I mean, it's part of it.
Okay.
The thing with problematic, and part of the reason I wanted to get it out of the way, is it's a problem, it's a problem with the way people approach discussion, mostly. And I suppose that's a bigger problem than the word problematic itself.
Oh, yeah.
It's just the word problematic happens to come up every time.
That's a good
So,
tag.
I mean, just people don't know how to articulate their ideas. People don't know how to... That's not so much they don't know how to articulate them, it's they don't know how to form an idea coherent enough to articulate it. Like, it's just such a nebulous idea it's probably not even their idea. It's just people told them that, and they just believed it because it fit their narrative. So they're like, oh, well, men are trying to keep women out of video games. This is a another thing of the patriarchy, It's the patriarchy backfiring on men. That's going to be a problem for later, just that phrase alone. The patriarchy coming next week on Open Your Mind, the podcast, episode 2.
When you first brought the word problematic in, I was a little confused, but no, I agree with all of those points.
Yes,
I do think
a strange problem, but
I was planning on
important
bringing
one.
this in at some point. These same ideas, but I think you've staked your claim, and I'll give it to you. But yeah, people that just it's all part of that whole culture of people that just want to get offended.
Yeah.
But they don't want to do anything about it. It's not about wanting to fix things. It's just about I'm gonna get in a tizzle.
People like being upset, and I definitely understand that.
Yeah.
But there are so many better outlets of your. I mean, there's so many easier ways to get upset.
Female genital mutilation.
And there's that. That's a problem. That's a problem. That's too big of a problem to be on the show because it's a problem.
Well, actually, that was on the biggest problem in the universe.
Yeah, it's a problem. Though.
It's a big problem.
It
is quite possibly one of the biggest problems in the universe.
It's maybe an actual legitimate problem, unlike the problem of the word problematic, which in the end of the day, I can forget about that.
The word itself.
The word itself.
It's representative.
It's representative of a pretty big problem.
Which was all right. Is there anything else you want to add to?
I mean, that was pretty much it. I didn't really have much to say about that. I just wanted to get it out of the way to the problem of discussion. The word problematic. It's all tied in. It's all linked together.
Okay. Then I'm kind of gonna piggyback off of this problem.
Okay.
Kind of put myself into my problem.
Okay.
It's the stupidity to awareness of stupidity ratio. I'm going to call it the STAOS ratio. It's a very
STAOS ratio.
official.
That sounds pretty official.
Official ratio there.
That click was brought to you by the iPhone 4S.
Absolutely.
Apple is one of our sponsors. Thank you, Apple, for the free stuff.
It's not actually one of our sponsors. This brought to you by who we will not plug the specific female store outlet that I walked past, whose name I can't remember anyways.
Thank you, them. I am enjoying all of your dresses that you sent us last week.
But
They're
yes,
not toys, but I do like them.
and I have a couple different directions that I want to take this. The first and most obvious direction is the flip side, and that's the more traditional of the more you know, the more you realize you don't know.
Well, I think first, before you get into the details, you should fully outline what the stupidity to stupidity ratio is.
Okay, I don't have specific numbers for
stupidity
it yet.
to awareness of stupidity ratio.
But basically, what I mean by that, it's pretty much in the name, but that the dumber you are, the more you're just gonna embrace being dumb and not know it. the more you're just going to screw. Well,
you got to be very specific here. It's a very educational, scientific show. We have to define. Everything has to be quantified.
Okay. I do have a couple directions I want to take this. First, just while I'm still in the general sense, I just want to get this out of the way. In the line of thought where the more you know, the more you realize you don't know, it sucks because the more of a genius I become, the more I realize that I'm not actually that genius I thought I was. It's very
sad.
Disappointing. It's a big problem, really.
Yeah, it's a pretty big problem.
And I'm going to be very surprised if this isn't considered the biggest problem on this episode of
the biggest one.
But all right, I'm going to take this a highly specific direction after this, but in terms of research and what it is that people think that they know. When people are formulating an argument, and you've suggested that people are very bad at that, and I'm going to agree with that. There's become an idolization for science.
Yes.
And so I could even call this problem idolizing science, but I kind of like the STAOS ratio.
The STAOS ratio
very scientific.
Sounds very scientific, so I'm more inclined to believe it.
I'm benefiting from the problem itself.
Exactly.
So
which is what most people do.
So yeah, just because something is scientific, because something has a study. If you say, "Oh, there's a study that shows," that's an important verb to associate with study. If a study shows something,
study shows,
then your argument becomes infinitely more powerful. But that's not the
there's
case.
science to back it up.
Because there's science. What is science? What is science? Just tasty science. Inject my argument with science. But when you're all right, so I mentioned this earlier that there's notable different levels of how people argue things according to their incorporation of science. There's the people that are stubborn and they don't care about however much science there is, however much legitimate research there is that proves their point wrong. They're going to believe it no matter what. There's those people, which I really don't care about those people. I can't do anything anyways.
They're going to live their life and probably be pretty happy.
Probably.
Maybe offended.
Maybe offended. Maybe, but they're probably happy to be offended.
They're happy. They're happy that they're offended, so they're happy in the end of the day.
Right.
So they're not really a problem. I mean I don't like them.
They're definitely a problem, but they're not that big of a problem.
They're not that big of a problem. They're pretty much harmless.
Then there's the people that are like one step up on that hear science and they're like, "Oh, that's truth. I read this in a pop psychology article." Yes, I'm talking to you, Maddox, who cites friggin' popsych.com. Fudging ridiculous. So there's a study that proves it. Obviously, therefore, it's 100% true. Then there's the people one step up on that know that not all studies are created equally. Actually, just as a demonstration of that second level of the people that hear science, therefore it's true. There's the great example of vaccines and autism. How there are people that believe that vaccines cause autism because there was a study.
Because there was a study.
As vaccines became more prevalent, so did autism. Which completely ignored the whole, we became better at detecting autism. It completely ignored, but more important than that, it completely ignored that the study that showed that relationship, was retracted. The person that did the study has been removed from at least that field of science. I think it might be all of science.
All of science. They can no longer be scientific.
They are not allowed to be scientific at all.
They are not allowed.
They've been anti-science.
Then again, they weren't scientific when they released that study in the first place, so maybe they've never actually been scientific.
That's a good point, but the important part is that it appears scientific to other people.
It does.
So
if you don't know that, correlation doesn't equal causation.
Right.
Of course.
So, I hate that so much. But anyway, so then there's the next level of people that think that there are people that know that there can sometimes be problems with science. Statistics can be used to be misleading.
Yes.
But they don't always apply that knowledge to the studies that they use to support their own arguments. So they're like, yeah, I know that it's not always working, but in this case, it's, I'm going to use science because science is still good. But then there's the level above that where you have to be trained. You have to study exactly all the ways that studies can go wrong. What is appropriate for good study design, what's not appropriate for good study design.
The problem with all that though is it's not cool.
It's not cool.
It's not interesting. It's annoying. It's a awful, rabbit hole.
It was ridiculous. It was difficult. I can't tell you how many different kinds of validity there are, which is actually one important point of validity. Face validity.
Face validity.
Face validity is how valid a study appears to people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's great to me because it's so important to people that
it's probably the most important form of validity.
Because
as long as it appears valid, I mean,
people will believe it.
People won't look into it as long as they think it's right.
It can both be good and bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I can't remember the specific argument, but Dick Masterson brought in an argument that
our role model.
It was on cold lasers. That's what it was. And I'm gonna agree with them and say cold lasers are retarded. If you don't know what they are, it's basically they describe it as being a light bright of red visible light that supposedly is a cure-all that causes you to lose weight, does all these miracle things. That's been on Dr. Oz, whatever. But he says that even if there was good research that said that it worked, he wouldn't believe it because it's just a light bright. And so I am thinking, well, that's because it doesn't have high face validity. It has absolutely nothing to do with whether or not it works. It just has to do with whether or not it works.
Yeah.
And so, again, back to my STAOS ratio, the problem is that because you don't know about face validity, then you can't know that that's a problem that you don't know about face validity.
Yeah.
That it could be perfectly valid. It could work. I don't think that one does because it does sound pretty ridiculous.
It does.
But
what if it didn't?
But I mean, I say that, and here I am subscribing to face validity, not knowing about face validity, whatever. So then, with this whole problematic thing, they feel smart when they're saying that something is problematic. That makes you feel good. That's like, yes, I have identified something that is valuable for society to raise awareness of. I hate raising awareness. It can be useful in some cases, but after awareness has been raised.
Can I ask you something? Are you aware of ALS? Let me get some water. I'm gonna make you pretty aware.
I am aware.
Do you have a bucket
of the acronym of ALS?
Do you have a bucket around here? Do you have some ice?
I've got a trash can. You can dump that on your head. That's what I want people to dump on their heads.
That's not what it's supposed to do.
No.
That's not how you raise awareness for that. If it's anything else but water and ice, it's
raise awareness.
Sorry, but you're just not raising awareness right.
Raise awareness for child.
I think it's funny.
Abuse.
This is derailing a bit, but so many people didn't understand. The way that was set up, it was supposed to be that you either donate or you dump the water on your head so that other people would see that and donate. But everyone just dumped water on their head and no one fucking donated. They probably didn't make any money from that whole thing. No one understood it. They just thought, I could dump water on my head. Oh, I'm fighting a disease too. You're not doing shit by dumping water on your head.
No.
Everyone already knows what ALS is. Of course, this is kind of an outdated problem. People have stopped dumping water on their heads.
I think slacktivists might still be the biggest problem on the biggest problem in the universe.com.
Slacktivism is a pretty big problem. Problems.
Yep, it is.
It is.
Slacktivists. In fact, slacktivists. So that's what you're talking about right there. Slacktivists. People that will dump ice on their head rather than actually going out and fixing something.
Exactly.
Which kind of it's a little bit related.
Awareness helps,
but it's different because it's about the whole mindset.
It's the mindset. It's a negative. It's all around just bad.
Yeah.
ALS kills everyone. Check us out next week with our ALS video. We will be releasing that. So prepare yourself. Don't subscribe to this channel if you want to watch that. You will be very disappointed.
That's a good point. You should still subscribe to this channel.
You should subscribe to it. That is a good idea. But if you are looking for ALS videos, I'm sorry. Just a quick. I'm sure there's still some being made. Just go to YouTube, ALS video, search, sort it by time uploaded. I'm sure you'll see lots of 10-year-olds
sort
to
it by number
80-year-olds.
of cat pictures in the video.
Cat pictures are relevant and funny.
They raise awareness.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to rescind my previous comment saying that there would be no other pictures. Cat picture will be shown now. It's gone now. No more cat picture. That was the only other picture ever. Okay. But we've gone a little bit off track here.
We have.
As I said, we would.
Yeah.
We are reaching.
People need to. That's. See, that's one of the biggest problems in the universe, right there. And of course, that's the name of their show, not ours.
That is one of the open your minds right there.
That's one of the things that you really need to open your mind about. This is like the poster child of opening your mind. Open your mind to how stupid you are. You have to realize that you don't you have to realize that you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And of course, that's such an easy thing to say, and it's such an easy thing for people to agree with. But I don't want you to agree with me. I want you to fudge and realize it already. If you took the time to sit there and like sit back in your chair, lean your head back, and go, yeah, maybe I should spend some more time thinking. No. Just go punch yourself in the face, and actually, just the next time that you think you know something, just stop for a second and be like, you know what? I probably don't know this as much as I think I know this. So I will suggest it. I will offer my ideas. I will think about my ideas. I will listen to what other people have back, which is why we got another person here.
I think what it comes down to
raise my own stupidity awareness.
Yes, exactly. And I think what it comes down to is I think most of society would stigmatize ignorance. I think if you ask a majority of people,
I definitely stigmatize
they
ignorance.
would say that ignorance is a negative aspect of.
Is my stigmatizing ignorance a bad thing?
It could be. That might be a problem.
Might be.
But anyways, I think what it comes down to is ignorance is a problem, but most people don't understand that the bigger problem, the real problem, is willful ignorance. Because ignorance can be fixed.
Yes.
You can teach somebody, and they'll know. They won't be ignorant anymore.
There will always be ignorance because the smarter you get, the more
exactly,
you don't
though.
know.
I think what everyone needs to understand is that it's okay to be ignorant.
Yep.
As long as you're willing to understand and accept the fact that you're probably ignorant too. I'm ignorant. I don't know.
You have to be able to take. So the STAOS ratio.
Yeah.
That's a good. This is good. This is good. Like I mean, maybe you have more to say, but this is a good. Like,
not really.
Wrap up closing argument for the STAOS ratio.
For the STAOS
you need to be
ratio.
able to take responsibility for your ignorance.
If you can do that, I think everything else will fall into place. You'll get a job. You'll stop being jobless. You will get a girlfriend. Everyone wants a girlfriend. Even girls want girlfriends. I heard that there's a new thing apparently. Girls going out with girls. What's up with that? That's weird. Weird problems coming up next. Wackiest problems next episode.
Not a problem, but isn't that interesting that girls have girlfriends but boys don't have? Well,
boys have boyfriends.
No, I mean that they use the term girlfriend. Rather,
oh, you mean like just as far as like a collection of friends?
Girls describe friends that are girls as girlfriends.
That's a little bit interesting. I think it has to do with the objectification of women. At the end of the day, that's what it all comes down to.
Two white guys talking about feminist ideals episode.
And the stipulations of girlfriends and boyfriends and gay couples. It's just, it's what we talk about here. We have lots of perspective to offer as two straight white men talking about this. Lots of perspective.
So, do you have another problem that you'd like to talk about for now?
We're pretty much. I mean, we're closing in on an hour and a few minutes here. I think it'd be. I mean, we covered a lot of ground. Mostly gender issues. Those are pretty hot these days. Pretty topical. Race issues are getting more and more topical though as the days go on.
That's true.
With Ferguson, it's a big talking point.
There's so many. Okay.
Let's.
I feel like I'm defeating my point by saying there are so many of those cases, but there's so much excitement over getting excited about a specific instance of a thing rather than the general practice of thing. Yeah. But that's a future problem.
Yeah, we covered the girl aisle.
We covered girls' toys. And your problem was?
My problem was the word problematic, bigger problem surrounding it, just people not being able to form, not so much not being able to argue. I think anyone can argue if they have a good enough point, but people just can't form good points because they don't take the time to do it.
All that time spent using the word problematic, use a better...
Come up with a good argument. You might even convince someone instead of just making them talk about it on a stupid little show.
Yeah.
I mean, think about that next time you think about writing the word problematic without actually knowing why or why you're doing it.
And the last problem was the stupidity to awareness of stupidity ratio, the STAOS ratio.
The STAOS ratio is a very important problem. Probably, if I had to vote, probably the most important problem because it covers a lot of other problems. I mean,
it's a pretty general problem.
Covers ignorance and willful ignorance. I think those are two.
Willful ignorance, that's a pretty big problem.
The stigma.
Take responsibility for your darn ignorance.
Yeah, if you stigmatize willful ignorance, society will get better. But stigmatizing ignorance in general, it'll make people not want to admit that they're wrong.
It's a good point.
And that's a bigger problem than people who don't want to admit that they're are purposely not admitting that they're wrong because they're stubborn.
Yeah.
So I mean, people can change.
I don't know about you guys, but I feel like I've learned something today.
I think we both learned something. That's what
you're supposed to follow that with. I think we've all learned.
I think we've all learned something. I think I learned something more importantly though. I think my mind has indeed opened a little bit.
Excellent.
Like 1% maybe.
1%. It's okay. We've got 99 more episodes coming out later tonight.
6,000. We were approved by Apple and the unnamed, not their actual name, just
no. I'm pretty sure that's what they had on the sign out front.
Oh.
Pink Princess, whatever.
We'll remove that from. We'll put a beep.
We'll put a censor there.
We'll
Sorry.
censor that.
Sorry, guys.
Sorry, it'll probably hurt your ears. You'll be like, oh, I wasn't expecting a beep.
It'll just be like, I don't know. We need to come up with a good censor sound effect.
I'll synthesize something.
Excellent.
It'll have some.
This just in. All episodes must be listened to while wearing headphones.
Oh yes.
At max volume.
Max volume. We're gonna mix it so that all the audio is really quiet except for the little censorship things.
Yes. Excellent.
But all right, I think that's a good.
But
our minds have been opened. Hope your minds have also been opened.
This was Open Your Mind, first
Blonde
episode
Jummer.
with two of us here. This is John Blummer with Blum Johnner.
Blum Johnner, that's me. Thank you for listening. If you listened to all of it, I'm pretty impressed.
Yeah,
you did.
That's a good job. Please, actually, one thing I did want to mention is please leave comments. We'd love to hear what you've got to say, and we'll probably talk about it.
We'll probably if you do comment,
it
will be talked about. Don't feel the pressure because.
I'll pressure you a little bit, but
a little bit.
Little gentle
I'd like to talk about it though. The more people involved in a conversation, the
more
better.
Interesting it gets.
Unless there's like 10 of them, in which case usually it's just people yelling over each other.
We won't talk about you if you're yelling. But
if you're yelling,
if you actually have interesting thoughts and ideas,
we'll
very subjective.
We'll make fun of you if you're just being.
That's a good
annoying.
point.
I mean, I will. I don't know about you.
Yeah, probably.
Anyways,
all right,
Blum Johnner.
John Blummer. This is Open Your Mind.